10% of all the new cars sold in Iowa come from the Carl Auto Group. Our neighbors trust us to have the largest selection and the highest standards. To our current customers, thank you. And to our future customers, see for yourself why Carl drives Iowa.
Your dealer for life, it's the Carl way.
My name is Joseph Hurst. I live in Ankeny, Iowa, and I'm part of the PMBA program. I currently work as the Director of Sales at Stony Creek Hotels in Johnston, Iowa, and I chose the Iowa State MBA program because it just made perfect sense. About 2 years ago, I started this wonderful program, and I couldn't imagine not having done it. What has helped the most balance work, life, school, has been the people I'm in class with. It's great to go through questions, problems, study for tests, and it just makes the whole class so much easier. As a working professional thinking about doing an MBA program, I get night classes aren't everybody's dream. I get after a long day of work, you may not want to go do more, but it's worth it. You're gonna learn a lot, not just from the professors in the program, but from the other students. They come from all walks of life. They are from different age groups, they're from different companies, they're from all kinds of different backgrounds, they've got all kinds of different stories. And after 2 years, I've made some of the best friends I've ever made, learned the most I've ever learned, and I can't imagine what we're gonna do after we're done.
I'm Chris Williams from Cyclone Fanatic, and a proud Iowa State graduate from the class of 2007. No one shows up like Iowa State fans.
And Cyclones support Cyclones on and off the field.
Your gift can provide scholarships to students, fund groundbreaking research. We could even drum up opportunities for the marching band. Visit MoveWhatMatters.com to learn how you can make an impact today.
Chris Williams, Brent Blum, from the Wild Rose Casino Studio. It's Williams and Blum, presented by Mechdyne, on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.
All right, what's going on? It is Wednesday, the 9th of April. Blum is still out of the country, so we pivoting.
That might be the closest thing to Blum looks like
that
we have available.
Aiden Wyatt looks just like Blum. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
We're doing a mailbag today because honestly, there's not a lot happening right now. I know everybody wants just like transfer portal drama. You all saw the Joshua Jefferson thing got resolved, and I think just at this point, you've got Iowa State looking to fill a spot or two, and that needs a little bit of time to marinate, I believe, with financials and all that good stuff. But we'll keep you updated on Cyclone Fanatic Premium on the Patreon page as it continues to develop. We are presented, as always, by our friends at Mechdyne, the Mechdyne Corporation, our good friends over there at Mechdyne. Thank you so much for bringing the Williams and Blum podcast to each and every one of our lovely viewers on YouTube, listeners, wherever you find your podcast.
You can watch on Spotify now.
You can watch on Spotify now. There you go. Aiden Wyatt, we are evolving because in this world you evolve or you die. We'll continue to do that. Premium subscribers gave us some questions. So I thought what we would do, I copied some of the ones that I thought were good, but I have not thought about any of these. Okay. So I wanted this to be as spontaneous as possible here for the next 30 to 40 minutes. And that's what we're going to do. So this comes from, again, our Cyclone Fanatic Premium subscribers. If I don't read your question, don't take any offense to it. Trying to create a show that is entertaining for the masses. And I've got about, 10 to 15 of these things. So Aiden Wyatt is going to be the moderator, and then I am going to sound off on these. Again, we are presented at Mechdyne, and let's go. What do you got for us?
Right, from Cloner James. Outside of Milan and Taman, freshmen have not made an impact under TJ. Do you think that changes this year?
I think the odds are that it probably will. There is another question later on and maybe we can just read this. Oh, yeah, I have one from Cy in the North. He said, what happened with Noyes? That far behind defensively. He's still at a P5, so obviously the talent is there. Curious to know if there's something going on behind the scenes. See, I think, so that's where I would caution fans to think like there's not always some nefarious acts going on. If you look at Noyes and Drusitis and what he was having to play behind, like a lot of times you just got to look at the roster. I think Noyes and Drusitis will develop into a really nice college basketball player. The problem was when he got to Iowa State, they tried to develop him early on. Like if you remember in Maui, yeah, like they were trying to play him and he was very far behind defensively. And then you get to the point where it's like in Big 12 play. The problem is for fans, and this sucks, and I hate this about college basketball now, but none of the Iowa State's not a developmental program anymore. They may say that, but it's almost like if you're a freshman who can't contribute, it's really hard to stay unless there's like this obvious, like I think that could happen with Xavier Mitchell next year because of like where he's at. But like this is a guy, Mr. Basketball in Wisconsin. I don't know if he contributes a ton as a freshman, but I think he's going to be a really good player. But so you ask, what are the odds that changes next year? I think pretty significant. I feel like Bateman or Torrey will have a role on this team. Which one? I don't know, but I'm looking at the roster. And maybe in a different world, maybe Noyes is a freshman this year and there's more room for him. The problem with Noyes was that he didn't do enough early, and then you're in a point where you're in the top 10 in the country and you already have dogs around you and you need a guy to step in and be more consistent. And for one reason or another, they chose Cade Kelderman down the stretch. And again, like there's not like nefarious actions going on. I think fans are always looking for like a conspiracy. I think everybody in the world just wants a conspiracy theory all the time now. Why isn't that guy? Well, the Omaha Blue thing, right? Well, he wasn't very good. Like it just didn't have a very good year this year either. He was hurt a lot at Wake. But if he was that good, he wouldn't have gone to Wake Forest. If Noyes was just like unbelievable, like can't miss, he would be at Duke right now, right? Like, so listen, like I hope these guys like, but if you're trying to win now, and Iowa State had what they thought was a top 10 roster, they were trying to get to a Final Four. Like you don't develop guys the way you used to. And maybe they need to change that more. I don't know. But that's how I feel. And I look at the roster this year, they're going to need a shooter. And at this point, they might need a perimeter defender. Bateman is the shooter, Torrey is the defender, and we'll see what happens. But you don't truly know until these guys get on campus and they start working out and all that stuff. I feel like Bateman, at the very least, is going to stick. They've been on him. They have the Mike Taylor connection. Feels like that guy and Torrey will. I like this class a lot. I also like Drusitis a lot. But you just have a very unique deal when you come to Iowa State basketball right now. And you have to be able to play a certain level of defense. And if you don't, you're not going to play.
I got a question off the grid here for you.
Yeah.
So do you think the roster is kind of in a similar spot where it was 2 years ago? Is that right?
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, that would have been Taman's sophomore year, which granted he played as a freshman, but like Milan comes to campus, plays immediately. And the year before, you had Jaron Holmes, all those guys. Like that was an older team.
Yeah.
And he kind of had to reload for the next year.
I think that's fair.
Because, and then you go into last year, you have Keyshawn, Curtis, Taman, they're all back. So you don't really have much room.
Yeah, I think that's super fair. Yeah. Like now there's going to be, a good way of putting it, room for somebody to step up.
Right.
Noyes was going to have to be unbelievable last year to make a huge impact. Now, we thought he was going to be. I was wrong with him in the offseason. He just didn't come around defensively. And again, like they tried early. Like everybody's like, you never gave him a chance. No, they did. It's just that was a really long time ago.
Yeah.
And like this this notion that these coaches will just bury guys. They want to win. Like, they're the most competitive humans I know. PJ Osselberger is the most single competitive human being I've ever met in my life. If these guys will help, but like if Demarion Watson was going to be the best option, he would have played. I promise you. So yeah, that I think that one of those two guys will stick at guard. Hopefully, two of them. And then I like Xavier Mitchell. It's just I look at it and he's going to have a tougher time seeing the court because of how the roster is built. But I certainly wouldn't bury him either. I don't know as much about him and how he fits as I do the other two. This Bateman, I think, can be that shooter, and he's a better defender as a freshman than Noyes would have been. And then Torrey, from what I understand, is kind of like a Melvin Edgem type figure in the backcourt. Now, I'm not, like he's not a similar player, but I'm saying like that mentality, that type of guy.
Moving on, Cyclone World asks, when does the book come out?
It is supposed to be out in November. Supposed to be. We had the whole deal where someday I'm going to have to tell the story about all my stuff being stolen in Omaha about my book. But right now we are on pace to have it out in November.
Again, from Cyclone World, what surprised you the most over the last year covering the greatest collective season in Iowa State history?
The amount of injuries that are possible within an athletic department.
And you can still win.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, if you would have told me in August about the football injuries specifically, I wouldn't have thought that they would have gone 10-2.
I feel like people have forgotten about that entire thing just because basketball had their own injuries.
Well, that's the thing. So it's like basketball had a horrible injury season. Women's basketball did. Wrestling did.
Yeah. Wrestling especially did.
Yeah. And then football, the fact that it was like arguably still the best season in school history is really impressive to me. I don't think that the football injuries probably got enough sympathy given to them, like as many as they had. Like I didn't think it was possible. I mean, I've talked to John Haycock about it, and he's been coaching for 30 years. He's like, I've never seen anything like it at any level. The fact that they were able to still go out and win 11 games is really incredible to me. So that is, and then the other thing, how did you put it? What surprised you most? I think the level of like casual fans that have popped up at Iowa State, which is great. It's a good thing. Who were like pissed about a lot of this stuff, like, right? Like, it's good. You want that fan base to grow,
right?
But it's also like that level is so much louder than the old guard, and it often, I think people pay way too much attention to it, but it's also kind of hard to ignore. But like this was kind of the year where it was like, wow, like this is all different than it was even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like the expectation is to go undefeated. And it like, yeah, sure. Shoot for the best. We want to win championships. But then like this level of like the sky is falling after everything is
7-0. You fall to 7-1.
Yeah, like, it's all over. I was really surprised. The negative thing I was surprised by was the crowds at the end of the football season. They weren't horrible by any means. They were still really good. Like Iowa State, like that Cincinnati crowd, I was like, wow, man, like that was a bad crowd. And it got better. The Kansas State crowd was much better. And like that one kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
But listen, it's all positive. Like the injuries though would be the biggest thing for me. Cause I if you would have told me all those injuries in football, I would have had them at 7-5. And if you would have said like with basketball, I would have thought like, there's no way they're going to be in the top 10 for 99% of the year. Like I would have never thought that. Cause it's like, it's a good team, great team when they were healthy. But I mean, it's such important pieces that were just out for such an extended period of time. So I think given the injuries, they all outperformed.
Sticking with One more from Cyclone World. If you could have one mulligan for an ISU season, what would it be and why?
The 2021 football.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. That would be the one. It's just like that. If you look at what all that group has accomplished post Iowa State, it's like the talent was clearly there. For some reason, it just didn't come together.
That was the most unluckiest. I mean, there's been a lot of unlucky teams in Iowa State history.
Tech guy kicking the 90-yard field goal.
97-yard field goal.
And then basketball this year, too, I would be right up there. I used to say 2005 football, but now I just have such a bigger picture perspective.
That team would have gotten killed in the Big 12 championship. I don't think it made too much.
This would got annihilated.
Yeah.
Or like this year, if basketball stays healthy, they could have played in the Final Four.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
And that's realistic, I think.
Yeah. In 2021 football, it's like that team, if it all comes together perfectly, they wouldn't have won a national championship, but they could have won the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
Who
won the Big 12 that year? That wasn't the TCU year, was it?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't
K-State won the Big 12. Anyway.
Yeah. I don't know who won it, but that year to me, like, will always kind of be a what if.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, I don't really blame anybody. It's just like, it just didn't, you never really felt like after they lost to Iowa, like, this is a special, like, you knew it was special with the group, but like, you didn't think they were going to like accomplish anything. Like, I didn't, at least.
Yeah.
I knew they were really good.
Definitely took the wind out of the sails.
Yeah. I knew they could beat anybody on any Saturday. That would be the one. And I feel like Matt Campbell would love to have that one back too. Cause it's like you said, they did like that game, like the one that always sticks with me is that Iowa game. If it doesn't rain or if it doesn't storm, like they were blitzing Iowa when that happened. And then they came back out with a totally different game. Like, how does that change the season? I don't know.
Yeah.
What a coulda, shoulda.
From the franchise, how many chapters are in the book now?
Oh. We'll have like 30, I think.
Dang.
It's a lot of like choppy chapters. Like there's going to be 7 or 8 that are long, and then it's like a bathroom book. So it's like you can sit down and
coffee table book turns into a coffee table.
Turns into a coffee table. Yeah, like there's a lot of so one of the chapters that's my favorite is with Greg McDermott and Otzelberger and Jeff Rutter about how they all got together in Hutchinson, Kansas, and basically created the future of Iowa State basketball randomly one night. And that's a long one. Like one of them is a long one with Matt Campbell about why he stayed at Iowa State when he had all it, and it's different stuff. It's not, I'm trying not to I'm not regurgitating the same stuff you guys have read. But then there's like a chapter on how in the hell did you guys come up with all black uniforms? Like where in the hell did that come from? Like there's a chapter on the BYU game where DeAndre Kane ripped that dude's eyeball out and Micah Byers is sitting with him in the locker room. There's a chapter on Amber Rose and Monte Morris coming to Steve Prohm's reunion. So it's like
no stones unturned.
No, we're digging in, but it's fun stuff. Like I'm not regurgitating. It's
not a column.
No, and it's not. I'm not digging into the gambling probe. Like it's a feel good book for an Iowa State fan.
Yeah,
like that's what we're trying to do here.
From PP Clone, with the evolution of everything from success / raise expectations of social media's anonymity / lack of accountability to NIL / increased fan donorship. How much of a toll did the fan base take on you?
The fan base as a whole, not that much. Because I still love like 90% of Iowa State fans. The burner stuff has gotten really old.
Yeah.
Because the problem is, and I tell you guys, our employees and stuff all the time, it's just like that doesn't represent most people. It just doesn't.
Just the louder ones.
The problem is they're the ones that are the loudest, you know, and they're very passionate. So you want them there, but when you don't have to have your name behind something, it just allows you to take everything up a notch as far as negativity goes. And, it absolutely has taken a toll though. It has on everybody in our profession because it's like, you know, we used to write a game story and you would file it and then you would go home and you don't have anything to do until the next availability or whatever. Well, now it's like you do post game show and like literally live as you're talking, people are telling you how much you suck. And it's not all that, but it's still like it does happen. So it's like you have to change the way you look at what your profession. It's just different. Doesn't mean it's worse. We're able to reach a lot more people than we used to. Like this is all good stuff, but you have to be able to train yourself to block it out. What I do is like I'm not being a jerk if I don't respond to your tweet. I probably haven't seen it because I just silence notifications. Like, and like if I need to go and look through them, I will. But if not, like you're just gonna spend all your time on that. Like getting on Twitter isn't work. I think a lot of people think like, oh, I'm in our business. I'm going through my tweets. I'm working. Like, no, it's not. Like it's not work. It's part of like what we have to do, but like just getting in. I used to get in bullshit fights with this random dudes on Twitter all the time, and then I realized how big of a waste of my time that is.
Yeah, I went through the same thing in college. I was all over it.
Yeah, like you just have to like be able to ignore it. So no, it doesn't really make me have a. I like to think that I'm the man for the fans because I feel sorry for fans right now. I think you're getting gouged every which way, but that's why I love Iowa State though. It's because for the most part, Iowa State fans are Iowa State fans. They're going to be an Iowa State fan, doesn't matter who the coach is. Joshua Jefferson would have transferred. You'd still root for the Cyclones next year. Met your wife there. You went to college there. Your parents went there, whatever. Like there's some sort of connection to Iowa State. I think I would have a hard time covering like one of the bigger schools with more of the casual fan. I think I would have liked it 10 years ago. I don't know if I would like it now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Because at that point, I would rather just go cover pro sports.
Right.
Because
it's basically the same at that point.
Yes, exactly.
From Jover Shore? Sure.
Jover Shore.
In the coming years in the Big 12, who do you think emerges as the new powerhouse university or universities, plural, with the void that Texas and Oklahoma left, whether it's perception or results based on the national level?
Okay, we'll start right there. The void that Texas and Oklahoma left will be tough because those are brands. Like it's not
even about sports, really.
Yeah, like Texas didn't do that well in the Big 12 for the last 15 years. Once Mac Brown went on and like, they didn't win a lot.
Yeah.
It was just their TV ratings and all that stuff. So it's like Oklahoma leaving felt a bigger void as far as the playoffs and that type of thing. I think Texas Tech has a huge opportunity coming up. I think TCU is spending money like crazy. The one that I would put as keep an eye out is BYU, especially in basketball. Like I think they're going to be really good in basketball.
You got the best coach in the league,
best offensive coach for sure. I think. I think that they are investing very well. I'll be curious about with football, but that is a nice home field advantage they have out there. To me, that would be a sleeping type of giant. Now that they finally have Power 5 resources and in that they can just use the Mormon thing to honestly can max out every year.
Right.
Like that they can do that. Like they had the money to do that. So does Texas Tech with the oil and all that stuff. It sucks that like you just immediately go to who's got the most money, but I'm telling you, like BYU, in my opinion, I would be nervous if I'm Utah. I would be nervous if I'm a Utah fan.
That's too bad.
And Utah has a lot of advantages too, but like Whittingham's at the end.
Yeah.
He's at the twilight of whatever's going to happen there. I think BYU has a better overall brand.
I mean, BYU is just the Mormon Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Like, they have fans everywhere.
We saw it at Hilton this year.
Yeah.
That place was packed with BYU fans. Like I think that they got a real shot there to be like a big time athletic department. Like, cause maybe that's the replacement to Texas.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I also think too, it's like just don't forget about like the Baylors of the world, and money, man. Like it's now it's less about like it used to be, oh, what's your recruiting area? Oh, Baylor coaches can go out on a Friday night and scout all these players. Like, yeah, but football, everything in recruiting is national now. It's like you don't need that. And like, and most of these guys have signed early now because of the early signing period and all this stuff. Like, it's all different. It's about stability and it's about money. BYU would be my answer. I
agree. We're going to skip a few here, go down to Shadow. Next TV contract window for college sports is 2031. What does the media landscape look like for the next round? Like, who's bidding? Do we still have conferences? Is there a super league?
The problem with the getting rid of conferences thing is this. It's like it would have to be like a new world order of college athletics to get rid of conferences, because if you're the Big Ten or if you're the SEC, like, are you just going to give up all the advantages you have to make life better? This is the problem with college athletics, is that everybody's always looking out for themselves instead of the greater whole. Okay, go get a commissioner. All right, well, is the college football commissioner going to, like, can that person dictate equal revenue sharing amongst the first 60 schools that are elected into the Super League or whatever? Like, why would the SEC and the Big Ten sign up for that? I wish that would happen. I think in a perfect world, but the problem is nobody's looking out for the whole of the sport. And Greg Sankey's full of it. Like, he says all the time, no, you're not. Like, but nobody made you expand to all these schools. Nobody made the Big Ten have 20 schools. Well, we deserve automatic berths. Why? You already have every advantage known to man. Like, nobody told you had to go and get 20 schools. You did that on your own, so now you need to deal with it. So, like, again, like, what is the definition of a super league? Like, I've heard 15 different things that would describe that. I think eventually you're going to have 65, whatever, football programs, and that's D1. Everything else will be its own little thing. They can still play kind of like FCS schools play now. And, and you go from there. But I just like this idea that conferences won't exist. Like, they've already gone too far. Nobody's going to give up their advantage, in my opinion. The television thing, I think that it's the thing we've been talking about here on this show for 10 years, and we're getting closer and closer. The bidders will be Amazon. The bidders will be Netflix.
And by 2031, those are all going to be, that's 6 years from now.
Yes.
And they're going to be so much more polished and everything.
Yeah. Oh, and like, it's like, if I'm ESPN, instead of trying to go to war with them over my rights, like, I'm getting into bed with them, one of them somehow. Hey, Amazon. I'm Bob Iger at Disney on the phone with Amazon. We'll produce all this stuff for you.
So kind of like what ESPN is doing with TNT, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, to me, like, that's ESPN's place in all this going forward. Because right now they're in this weird where they're dropping rights fees, but then they're paying like Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Smith like exorbitant amounts of money. I even think those guys lose cachet in the future because it's just like you've got like the Iowa Everywhere is popping up now. Like, we're like, I used to listen to Colin Cowherd religiously. I haven't listened to him in months. I don't remember the last time I've downloaded his podcast because I just want local stuff that I actually care about. Like, I spend so much. I'll tell you why I don't. You know why? Because I'm a Formula One fan and I love NASCAR. Like, when I need something to just get away, like I used to pull up Mike and Mike in the morning and Cowherd. Now I'm listening to a Formula One show from Britain. I'm more interested in it. And I can, there's so many more options. Like, I just think that we're just getting going, guys, like with all this stuff. It's the Fox and ESPN will always have a place, but there's going to be a Netflix league. There's going to be an Amazon league. There's going to be a Disney league. You know, all these things. And I also would guess, and this is going to suck for fans, this is where they keep getting you. But it'll be a deal like if you're a Big 12 basketball fan, where you're going to have 4 different things to watch all the games, which you're kind of already getting there. But like, they're going to sign a Big 12. Yormark can say whatever he wants. They're setting this thing up to sell their basketball rights separately. Whatever that looks like. If it's Turner, but it won't all be in one basket. So it'll be like half your games are on Turner, fourth year games are on Netflix, a fourth year games are on CBS, and then you're going to put like 5 of them, like big Saturday night games on Fox. Like, I think it'll all be spread out that way.
Keeping it in the same realm from Boone 7247. What's next for Yormark? Is there money to be made before the new TV deals come?
Good question. I don't know what there is to do right now because I don't think that expansion's happening. The ACC thing already blew up, like, so they're sticking together. It feels like the Big 12 has to keep getting better in football. Like, we all want to focus on basketball in this league, and I agree with the Baylor athletic director last year. Like, that's a big mistake in the big scheme of things. Like, you can keep building this basketball thing up, and it's great. I love Big 12 basketball. It might be my single favorite sport in the world is the Big 12 basketball. Not as much now as it used to be, but the 16 schools really, in my opinion, watered it down. Like, it just...
The true home and home. We were so lucky we didn't realize it.
Yeah, because those teams, like, hated each other.
Oh, yeah. And, well, I mean, it helped that guys were staying for 4 years.
Yeah.
You know?
And now they're not doing that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know who's on Kansas State next year. Like, they're all transferred.
Who's on Iowa State next year?
Yeah.
We didn't know for a good portion of the time.
Look at Iowa right now.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea who's going to be on that team. Like, look at Creighton.
Well, it's mostly trait guys.
Yeah. So it's like, but we were so lucky in that era because these guys would stay for 3-4 years and they would play twice a year, sometimes more if you met in Kansas City. Yep. They hated each other. The coaches hated each other.
But the crowd they hated each other, but there was still like the respect between everyone.
It felt like the second half of that Big 12 season was they all felt like NBA playoff games.
Yeah.
Because of the familiarity. Mm-hmm. I didn't feel that this year. It was still fun. Like it's fun seeing Arizona and BYU and like these good teams come to Hilton. Like, I'm not complaining about it. It just, and it's different. Like you had to do it, but it didn't feel the same to me.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, and that's why like a lot of fans will argue with me here, and that's totally fine. You have a right to your opinion, but like the regular season championship doesn't mean as much to me now. Still love to get one.
Don't tell Kelvin Sampson.
But like, you know, and they deserved it. They were by far the best team in the league.
100%.
But there's gonna be a year where some team just has a trash schedule.
Well, I mean, I hate to throw Iowa State under the bus, but look at the football schedule last year.
Yeah.
Like, there were 4 teams that could have played for Big 12 championship, and Iowa State didn't play 3 of them.
Yeah. Good point. I wouldn't have
got lucky in the tiebreaker.
Yep. So, listen, we have to evolve with it or we die. But as far as the Big 12 goes, like, how do you maximize this? Like, they need more Arizona. Like, Arizona State was a great story, right? Like, that team belonged. Like, they need more of that. Mm-hmm. Even if they didn't beat Texas in that game, like, they belonged in that game. You know, I think Iowa State, if healthy, that team, what Campbell had compiled last year, could have competed in the playoff. I don't know if they would have won. They need to show they belong in these games, and they're doing that. Houston did that very well with basketball. Whatever you can do to just don't let that stigma of we are a mid-major pop up. Yep. You just can't do that. And I don't think expansion, who are you going to expand to? What are you going to do? There's nothing else to do. Let's thank a couple sponsors real quick here on the Wednesday pod. And then I've been pretty long-winded. Maybe we'll do this next week too. Sure. Because we got more great questions and we're going to run out of time. Want to thank our friends over at Kelderman Manufacturing, of course. HopeWoodJD.com. You can get your will done in a day. Hope told me a bunch of you are doing it right now. Must be that crazy stock market. Everybody's freaking out. We're all going to die. You can go and if you're a day trader, speaking of that, you can go to Gravitate Co-working and work. gravitatecoworking.com. Check them out all over the Des Moines Metro. Of course, you see the bottle of Cody Road bourbon right in front of us here in the studios. And look at that beauty. Iowa Clinic Men's Center as well. All right, let's do a couple more. Knock out a couple more of these.
All right, from JM4 Psy, who's the next white whale interview you haven't gotten yet?
God. I don't really, I mean, it was always Leach.
Or Eustace?
Leach, yeah, Eustace. Does this have to be like a Big 12 Iowa State? You think?
Let's do one yes, one no.
No, I would love to interview Bill Simmons. I just think that guy's got a really because he's like, if you know his background, basically was like blogging in his apartment in Boston, and now he's a guy.
Empire.
Yeah, he's a guy who I really am like, man, that guy. Yeah. I'd love to pick his brain a little bit. I would like to get I think it would be really good to get Cale Sanderson on the record at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about like actual wrestling, but I know enough about the politics of all this and everything where I think it'd be fascinating to get his take.
If you could guarantee that he would actually like talk and say that it would 100% be worth it. But I'm not saying that he wouldn't because he's a bad guy. I'm saying that's how college coaches are.
And he doesn't like talk much. He's a very quiet.
Yeah. Even when he was at Iowa State, like if you look at old interviews and stuff, like he just never really.
Don't you think that'd be just? I would love to just get him on the record. Cale, what happened in your opinion? Yeah. Why did you leave? I think we all understand it on the surface.
Yeah.
And look what he's done at Penn State.
Correct.
The guy's unbelievable. Yeah. And he's got all the resources in the world. But I'd love to know the underbelly of that. And I know that there's people screaming at their radio or TV right now because, I mean, Iowa State just didn't have the resources for him and like all that stuff. But like, I would love to get his opinion and say, you know, what do you think now of Iowa State wrestling? What should they do?
Mm-hmm.
And Dresser's done a great job. Like people are more locked into it now than like.
You revived it.
Yeah. But that, to me, like looking back at the last 20 years, that is one where it's just like, I'd love to know that.
Yeah.
I've heard Pollard's side of it and all that stuff. Like what do we not know, you know, from Cale's perspective?
Another thing that folds into it too is Penn State doesn't publish their salaries. They're a public university, but they don't for some reason. They don't disclose that information. So that's always been
I mean, clearly he's in a better spot.
Yes.
I'm not even trying to argue that he should have stayed in Ames, but I think that would be good. Don't you think it'd be good to get Tim Floyd? I know he would do it too. We just need to ask. Tim would do it. I want to interview Paul Rhodes again. That's not a white whale, but I loved him. I think that, you know, at the end he wasn't winning. And I think that what Campbell came in and did right after him likely blocked out a lot of the positive things that Paul did. But Paul really was the guy who ignited that fan base.
Yeah.
In many ways. I think
he was part of the relay race.
Yep. Absolutely. So there you go. There's a few.
We'll close out with this. Ag Clone asks, will the Turtles go back to back?
Oh, best hitting team I've ever had in early April. We made talked to my assistant, Dustin, on day one. You know, because when you're a coach, Aiden, you got to look yourself in the mirror and see what you're doing wrong to fail these kids. I've focused too much on defense the last 2 years.
Like the Mike Leach way.
We were the best defensive team in the league all of last year, but we lost way too many games. 3-1, 4-2. Where
sounds like TJ's first year.
Yeah,
it's like, you know what, this is what we got to do.
And I said before I even had a look at my team, I was texting with my assistant coach and I said, we are going to be the best hit. We are going to score in the teens every night out. So I've been studying YouTube videos of hitting drills. We are going to be the best hitting team in the league, and we will not rest.
When's opening day?
Coming up here in a couple weeks. I don't know the exact date.
So you're like in spring training right now?
Yeah. We had our first
Arizona.
We've had like 6 practices, and last night was the first time that we've really practiced any defense. And we got a ways to go. But we are hitting the hell out of the softball right now.
Is it
Every kid on my team can hit.
is it Hoosiers where they don't practice with the ball?
Yeah.
You're basically doing that.
It's funny that's so funny because that got brought up to me last night. So no, we are. I'm not going to put any pressure on these kids. I think I haven't seen the other teams. I heard a team in Altoona's got a bunch of hot shots over there, but I think the Turtles this year you're going to see a new brand of softball from our squad. We've changed our uniforms. We're no longer
Black?
green.
Are you black?
No, hot pink.
Okay.
We're the hot pink team this year. We're the Pink Turtles. And I really like our squad. We're going to go out and hit the shit out of the ball. That's my only, and then we'll work on the defense as we go. Unlike Iowa State men's basketball, the Turtles are a developmental program.
Good.
We'll continue to get better as the season goes along. We'll be playing our best softball in June.
Yeah. There you go.
Thank you. We'll be back. We'll do this again next week. How about that?
Sure.
We have a lot more questions. I'm just too long-winded with my answers. Aiden Wyatt sitting in for Brent Blum. Blum is on a beach. Must be rough. We are presented by our friends at Mechdyne, hanging out here in the studio today. Blum will be back on Sunday night, so we'll have Williams and Blum Sunday coming up Sunday evening. For Aiden Wyatt, I'm Chris Williams. Have a good one.